Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
You are now watching Team Charlotte
Usually,
Greer's YouTube
well, let
channel.
me just say this. I hope that all is well with everyone and everybody's practicing social distancing and doing what they need to do to stay safe. So let me go right into it. If you notice today, the title on my live is a little bit long. That's because I took a paragraph or two out of an article that I put the link is there. I did not put the entire content from the article, but the article is there, so you can view that as you please. One of the things that really bothered me about this whole thing, this testing thing in regards to the coronavirus in the beginning, was the fact that there was no testing in the urban communities. And if you've been following me as I've been researching and putting information out to my community and my fellow people, especially people of color, and I really don't like to use that, but my African American people, you notice that it was 3 weeks ago, and I had a major concern that this will become an issue. And at times, they always tell you to consider the source as far as the journalists and the news and information that comes out. You consider the source. In this particular case, the Philadelphia Tribune put out an article talking about how the coronavirus will be disproportionately amongst the black community. Now, when you read the content that I posted with this live video, you'll understand where I'm coming from. And it mentioned in the article that in the end, that we already know that we are the ones that's going to be affected by it. I need a little bit more clarity. I need to know, what do you mean we already know, and why do we know? Is it because there's a lack of testing, or because a lot of people are not practicing social distancing? I mean, we need some more clarity as to why you believe that this is going to take out the vulnerable and poor community. And then to state that non-white will be receiving the coronavirus at this time. Now, somebody else can reread that article for me, and you can articulate it to me in a way that helps me understand. There was a comment, and the only comment on the Newsbreak app, that said that why do they want to make this a racist thing? I mean, and in the beginning, I did have a concern to the fact that I didn't know. See, you have to understand terminology. You have to understand when they put language in this information that we're supposed to be digesting every day. Okay, you have to understand when they say the vulnerable. And when I think about the vulnerable, I also think about the poor or the urban or inner city community. I consider that, you know. But in this aspect, they've been using the word vulnerable very, very loose. And to see it in this article and be referred to our community is kind of like, what are you saying? The vulnerable, to me, are seniors, babies, or those who have pre-existing um, medical conditions. And at times, it's not always the black community, okay? There are other things that people have a compromised immune system, and it can come from various and myriad of medical conditions, terminal illnesses that we are not aware of. And one of the things that I was talking to my husband about this morning, because we were on this hydroxychloroquine medication that, and I'll type that word, most of you don't know what medication I'm referring to, and azithromycin. So thank God I was a farm tech for 4 years, so I understand the things that are happening when it comes to the medical world. But I also see a transition that's happening where there's going to be a lot of money made. And we know your current president, 45, likes to put out information because he brands with his mouth, he markets with his mouth, and he says certain things that we are well aware and understand that he's marketing these things. Okay? Anyway, if there's tests and studies on this medication that's supposed to be working or suppressing or whatever it's supposed to be doing, and all those myriad of factors that I just named to you about pre-existing illnesses or terminal illnesses that people can have, asymptomatic, those people who are asymptomatic that may have it and not show symptoms, whatever their situation may be, that means, according to my learning, that means that this medication can possibly affect everyone differently. Okay? All those who have STDs, okay, long-term illnesses, temporary illnesses, whatever the situation may come about, or those who may come up with it. Each person's makeup is different, and their immune system is operating differently. So the medication may not affect them the same. They are doing countless of testings, and my husband and I kind of shared the same sentiments and emotion this morning when we found out that a lot of people were being tested. Like, I hate to use the word guinea pig, but they're test rats right now in the lab, and this is what's going on. Yes, so azithromycin, sis. So of course we know that's an antibiotic, commonly used for women with feminine issues. And other things, but commonly known to be used. Let me put it that way. Commonly known to be used, because I have to be correct in what I say. But that article in particularly was very alarming to me, and it should be to you. When you're reading this content on this information, you have to see how they are, and I call it marketing and branding. I mean, that's the way I look at it. They are, the way they're viewing or putting information out there to say that we are disproportionately will be receiving or will get the coronavirus in the community of color. And then they broke down all the stats of how much the percentage of black people versus white people and so forth. Yes, thank you, sister. And so these are the things that we should be concerned about. I told y'all every day I was coming on live. I try to come on once a week, but as time goes on and as this surge continues to happen, I think it's very vital and important for me, people like myself. I'm not going to just say just me, because there's other people who's giving vital information. But I think it's very vital for people like myself to come on and combat it or ask questions. I'm not one of those people that get along to get along. And I'm not one of those people that's going to just sit there and hear everything somebody tell me, or you just dropping stuff in my lap, and I just take it and run with it. And I can stand correction, I can. And I'm still learning, as though we all are. And none of us are familiar with this. It's going to take time. So, when you have your current president that say things like, hurry up and let's get this done fast, how can you do that when there's studies going on? There's people who's putting their life on the line. See, we're thanking all the doctors, the nurses, and I continue to thank them. Gratitude is here, very here, out the roof. And I'm thanking volunteers and janitors and everyone. But so what I'm saying to you is, we have to also thank those people who have contracted the coronavirus and decided to do a study, and they are actually being researched and stuck and taking pills for, I think it's Penn University, and who else, honey? Because I know that Penn University researchers is taking the lead in the nation on finding a vaccination. We also know that the tobacco industry has also claimed to be finding a vaccination as well. But there's another state and city that they included with Penn. Was it Chicago? New Jersey. Yes, Tamika. Yes, I agree. New Jersey. Okay, so all of these people are trying to find out what's happening, what's going on. As I told y'all before, yesterday, I'm overwhelmed by this 5G stuff. I'm not even going to talk about it. But I will tell you, there was a post that I want to highlight, and I told my husband, I usually don't laugh because I don't think this is funny. I think it's very detrimental, and it's very detrimental to our community. It's a very serious matter. But anyway, this guy was telling them, he said, if you don't believe that the coronavirus is real, why don't you come to the hospital with no mask and no gloves and work on the floor, the unit where COVID-19 patients are being treated and taken care of, and tell me how you feel 2 weeks later. Come to find out, as I commented on his post, furthermore, he comes to say that he comes to say that he worked in that same hospital. So, the guy is supposedly has a radar, what is that thing he has in his hand? Some detector that he's detecting radiation. Y'all can believe that stuff if y'all want to. So the guy, asked him, since you're doing experimenting, and that radiation on that detector is supposed to be so high, you should be coughing by now. And then he furthermore says, you need to come in the hospital with nothing on, no PPE gear, and work in here for 2 weeks helping us with this COVID-19 because we need it. He said the nurses and the doctors and the custodians all are exhausted. The cleanup team, everybody's exhausted. So they would love for him to come in and help and see what happens. As sarcastic as that may seem, it is a reality. And since all of you people want to do experimenting on whether it's 5G, well, you go and stand by a 5G tower and stay there. Matter of fact, take a bag and pack up your bag and sit there for about a week or so and see what happens to you. And then if nothing happens, or if it does, make sure you go to the hospital and find out, if you hang around. And that's what he was saying, basically. All those people who think they know what it is, and listen, scientific method, we learned that in school. You have to do countless of what? To get results. Quantitative, qualitative. Y'all remember? Let the scientists be scientists. Let the doctors be doctors. Let the nurses be nurses. Those who give out information, let them do that. Those who are volunteering to help the community, let them do that. Everybody has their area of expertise. Okay? I just want to address that. But it was I was very, very flabbergasted by this article that I just put up here and the information. And as I said, you can read the article for yourself. This peak, and I find it really, really weird that this whole entire time you have been saying, and I'm referring to officials across the nation and even across the globe, has been saying, oh, we're going to get a surge in our community. Oh, we're going to have a peak in our community, and come to find out that you believe that surge is going to be in the color community, as you refer to us, the people of color. Like, why did you even call us that? So anyway, you tell us that you believe it's going to be disproportionately amongst the community. Okay, so why didn't you tell us that at first? Okay, so that's another thing that's really bothering me. Some people don't understand. Have you ever heard the term, you give the person an inch, they take a mile? Have you ever heard that? Yes, the reason why people come up with so many conspiracies and theories, and it's hard for them to believe stuff. Yes, something is going on, but somebody is taking advantage in the moment. Crickets are chirping. Someone, something, some businesses, some people who always have been, it's like a white collar crime, for those who've been on the other side all along, even have the credentials that are thieves and robbery and doing things that they don't supposed to be doing. They're just continuing to do that while we have this coronavirus going on. And that's why it's so hard for people to believe what's going on, because of the mistrust and everything that's still going on. But y'all got to remember, we have criminals and thieves living amongst us. We have people who don't want to see America get better. We have people who in America who don't want to see Americans get better and don't want to see this thing get better. So they're going to do things that's going to be harmful. Y'all have to keep that in mind. That's all a part of nature. That's all a part of life. That's facts. That's just what it is. So people are using this situation to gain money, or to gain attention, to gain likes. Social media influencers are popping, it's crazy. Yes, we are. Unfortunately, we always are. And, I especially when it comes to my people of color, and that's the term that they use. You know that, Tamika. So when it comes to my black community, African American community, I'm always offended, and a lot of you know that. So I'm looking at it. This is the way I'm viewing it. Since I'm following up with this, researching this, I'm looking at, okay, you said there's going to be a surge. You said there's going to be a peak where numbers are going to double and possibly triple. No, you didn't even say possibly. You said you knew. You said you knew. So now you're telling me that that is going to be in our community? That's where that's going to happen? I wish you would have forewarned us, just like you forewarning us about everything else. If you let the black community know, and then you tell us we already know. What we already know. Some of y'all are so in the dark ages, in the old ages. You are not even on social media. That's where you find your information. You have millions of people who are in their, billions probably, who are in their homes on their phones, using phones more than ever, using social media more than ever. So they're posting all types of stuff. So if you want to find out what's going on, they always say you take it to the streets. Well, find out what's going on here. I can't understand that y'all are so dark. Like people, we know. If people knew, they wouldn't be so upset. If people knew what was going on, and that's why I said, some things in that article I don't agree with. Now I'm waiting on my scholars to come in. My well-educated people. I always call them my conservative social media friends, and I always say y'all don't like that, but you know who I'm talking to. What you say, babe? Stop hugging trees. That's the problem. They out hugging trees all day long and jogging up and down. Listen, I understand exercise, but y'all are more harmful than anything. So now this takes me back to the question. I'm glad you brought that up. Do y'all believe that's why they're allowing them to run up and down Lincoln Drive, all up in East Falls, jogging? Because it's not going to hurt the non-white community. It's not going to hurt the white community. Y'all better start talking. Okay, so let me pause for a minute to read some of these comments. Tamika Johnson says, from Philadelphia, what can we do to help equal the playing field? It takes this to show us that we need to take care of ourselves and our communities to a greater extent. Okay, so Tamika Johnson, I want to come back to that. I have some solutions, but my solutions are not always the community solutions. First of all, we always asking for solutions, but we have to come to an agreement together because everyone has to pool their solutions and put them together and make them work. That's number one. Togetherness. We have to come together. We can disagree to agree, and we have to show some solidarity, and we have to show some strength. We cannot be weak in the community. Okay? We can continue to listen to obey the orders that's been given out to us and practice social distancing, and also do some of the things that I've been suggesting the whole entire time, because I'm just not a complainer. I don't just tell the problem. I also give recommendations and solutions, but I also want other people to agree with them as well. And one of the things that I talked about was getting information out. Talking to people, talking to your family members, your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, your mom, talking to them to tell them to come inside. Okay? I talked about the drug dealers yesterday. I talked about the prostitutions and human trafficking. And I also talked about the people who work under the table and who never had a job and trying to make money in a time where all businesses are closed. We have to also consider those demographics. They are now labeling young people as the what, honey? Super spreaders. They are calling the young people super spreaders because they out gambling, partying, hugging trees, jogging up and down. Listen, someone just recently posted a picture, and people are posting pictures, and they're telling you to call 311 for Philadelphia. And there was a picture of people who were outside in the park. They were so close up on each other, I didn't know what to do. And this is the this is the white community, okay? That's happening. So when it comes to mixed messaging, and from that aspect, I kind of take a step back and do a double take. So a lot of you see me on social media a lot, but I'm also doing things behind the scenes. That's what I have hands for, a mind for, and I have a penmanship for. Okay? All that stuff, letters, calling people, that's what I do. I will bug you, especially when it comes to my community. And as I stated before, we should have had, if you knew this, how long have you known this? If you knew that this was going to happen in the black community, why didn't you make sure we had enough tests for enough people? Now, I know Penn University has opened up for people who have symptoms, but there's an eligibility, and I keep saying that, on who should go get the testing, because there are not enough test kits in the world. So this is why my face is looking distraught like that, because I'm just like, what just happened? What just hit us? So what you telling me? This thing is going to wipe out the black community? And, you know, maybe I need to go back and do some more research. Like I always told you, I stand corrected, and watch the news again, and my elected officials, who I'm trying to trust, Lord knows, I just hang my head down. I'm trying my best to listen to what they're saying. When they don't even agree with the president or agree with other people, and everybody's just doing their own thing. All these different states, they're doing what's best. All these different mayors are doing what's best for their city and their state. So what can I say? What do they leave us? And, you know, and I like what Tamika said, you know, what are we going to do going forward? And some of those things that I just named, that's what we do. And when we come up out of this, we need to come with a health team task force, a community health team task force. Tamika, if you're still there, that's one recommendation. And to get various people who are well-knowledge, retired people in the healthcare field, also attorneys, so we can do some civil lawsuits. Because let me tell y'all something, it's about to go down. The aftermath will probably be a little bit stringent than what's actually happening right now. And you best to believe it. And as I told y'all, I'm a woman of God, I'm a woman of faith. I believe that God has everything in his hand, and he is in control. And I also believe he is using me to make sure that I share with my community my thoughts and what's happening, my recommendations and my suggestions. Thank you. Yes, Community Health Task Force. We should be forming it now. And we need to bring some of the best to come on the team. I can already think about 5 people right now, scientists and all, to come, and we take our community and we put things in place as to what we need. See, this is the thing that I try not to do, and I don't take away from government. Because I'm one of those people that believe in the Holy Bible, the Holy Word. We say you're supposed to obey your government, obey those who have rule over you, because God put them there. He allowed them to be there. So I'm one of those people. And I really want people to learn policy. I have something that I'm doing that I'm not going to reveal. Well, I want to really be knowing what's going on the law side of things. And as I said before, if we don't learn policy, we will continue to be kept out. My DKOD family, on top of it. I love it. And I'm pretty sure there's other communities, you know, that are on top of it. But I rarely see people posting law. I rarely see people taking sections out of the articles and amendments. The Constitution, I rarely see anyone posting that language. We do not understand that language. We are lost. Who's to know if we ever would have found out how to read policy and work with those who are lawmakers? You have people who are going in to be lawmakers who have no experience in that area, in that arena. And there's judges. I cannot wait till the judge elections come up. Teresa Brunson, I am a huge supporter of her. Teresa Brunson will be one of the people that I will be supporting. I am supporting Danielle Patterson, running for state representative in the 190 in West Philadelphia. We need more attorneys. We need more lawyers. We need more people who are well with of what is happening in our community. We don't need people to just want to run for office just to be there. You need to have at least 50% understanding as to how those laws are made up. And you also need to form an alliance across party aisles. You know, I told you I wasn't going to talk politics because I was just a candidate and ran for office, but I can't help but to know this knowledge. If you do not form an alliance right now with people or over the years and build up your grassroots organization, you should just forget running for office. Or else you're going to get all this money from people who do not share core values that you do, and you're just going to be taking their money and using it, and they're going to be using you. And you're not going to be able to get to your community because you're going to be too busy trying to please the people who gave you money. There you go. You know, someone told me that, oh, Charlotte, you know, sometimes you have to make those sacrifices and take money from people, you know, who you know don't mean the community good just so you can get what you need done. Huh? I'm telling you, those independent people don't be doing that. Not me. There's enough candidates, enough incumbent politicians, all these different people, elected officials, community leaders. There's enough of them to do that, and I could be one of those people who don't. And I know there's some other people. And that's straight up and down. If my community do not fund my campaigns, I'm not running. If they can't help me, they don't believe in me enough, what is the point? We have to fund each other. And that's why I said I love what my DKOD family is doing and other communities. Linda Charles, yes. Linda Charles Fields, I am loving what she's doing. Power Up. And I'll put that link there for women. She has suspended her campaign and is dedicating her money and her time to make sure she gather money. And I will be helping her for women of color who's running for office to make sure women get in office, and she supports them financially because she understands the need of having money. And it feels so good and it's so darn right when it comes from your own people. Now that's some real rap for you. Jasmine Session, she can win. People like them, they are making sure that they are in a position to help people like us run for office. I don't need you to just like the stuff that I say. I need you to participate. And it don't have to be me. Yes, that's true. There you go. There you go, Tamika. And listen, even if it's not me who you listen to, you talk to, you interact with, work with, find someone whose the mission is a dream of yours or is a passion of yours, and you get with them and make sure that they do what they're supposed to do and you do what you do, and hold each other accountable to hold our community down. That's what you can do. Yes. Yes, Marva, I do believe that. I know that God allowed this to happen to me during this time, and that's why I said suspended. I am doing some other things on a major level, and I'll share with that in the future. But right now, my job is to make sure I get information out to my people, and they know what's happening to them. And I love what you said, Tamika. We always on the back burner. We always be the one that something disproportionately happens to our community. You know, let me go down and see if there's some other comments that I did not read. Okay, so again, the reason I came on this live is because of the information that was placed in that article, and I had a bit of concern. You know, I listen to journalists, I listen to editors, I listen to, you know, people who are for our community, even people like Ernest Owens, who's for the community and do not play about the community, and make sure that they correct someone, and make sure that they loudcast them, because let me tell y'all something, it's going to hurt you more when you do not put the information out there. I don't care if it's a person you like. I don't care. We have to start taking a stand. And then we don't have to do it in front of other people where we are hurting one another in front of the people, or downcasting, or, you know, or doing things that could be harmful when we're trying to build each other up. So that's enough. I just felt like I had to say that, put that out there. I'm very disappointed. Maybe someone can clarify this information for me, that, you know, you knew this peak was coming, and now you're telling us it's going to be disproportionately in our community, spread it through our community. people of color. So you read the article, you make the judgment call for yourself. I pray to God that each one of you are safe and in good health, and protect yourself. If you feel sick, you know what to do. I am so, I apologize on behalf of this United States for not being prepared. That's number one. Number two, made us look like we had everything intact and we didn't. Okay? And number three, that there's not enough tests for people who don't even have symptoms to take a test. I am so sorry for that. But I do know that God does all things well in His time, and this cup too shall pass. Know that God loves you, and I do too. Have a safe week, and remember, this is a surge this weekend. Now that we know it's going to be in the black community, please stay home if you don't have to get out. I love you so much, and may God continue to bless you all, and bless America and the globe. Take care.